Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Snuff's Random Stuff. I'm Snuff, and this week we are going to do something a little differently that I may do off and on, but here it goes. This is actually going to be a top 10 list for each system. This week we're going to go with the Atari 2600. Like I said, these are my top 10 favorite games that have played on the Atari 2600. Everybody has their preferences, but this will have to be mine on ones that I have played in the past. Number 10, I have to say, will go to a game that's called Outlaw. This is actually a game that I've not played for a long time, and it took a lot of research to figure out what it was. This is a game that I remember playing as a child with my sister growing up, and she used to beat me on it every time. All it is just you got two guys. Just the goal is to shoot at each other, and first person to reach 10, happens as wins. And there's like a lot of different scenes. There's ones where you're just standing there around a cactus, and then other ones you have to shoot through a wagon or shoot through a wall. Like I said, it's very interesting game when we played as growing up. Alright, so then number 9, I'd have to say, we'll go to Donkey Kong, which is obviously an instant classic. It's been a favorite for everybody's for years. Basically, the concept has always been simple. You just climb up a ladder, dodge objects, just to capture the princess from Donkey Kong. And you play as a plumber who kind of looks a little bit similar to Mario in some cases. Alright, and on the concept of Mario, we're going to go with the number 8 on the list, which would have to go to Mario Brothers. Which, if any of you have ever played Mario Brothers before, either in the arcade or on the Atari, I do believe they may have came out with a version of it for the Nintendo. I'm not sure. I don't want it to be confused with Super Mario Brothers, which everyone knows about that one, but this one's a little different. I'm trying to think. I know there was a little bit of like you could call it Easter egg in Super Mario Bros. 3, where if you're doing blue player and you go into a battle mode, the gameplay on Mario Brothers is similar. It's just you're one player, you're just Mario trying to climb up here or there. The goal is basically to knock out your enemies, all the enemies per stage, and that's how you complete the stage. Like I said, if on all these games, I know you can go onto YouTube and actually, type in, the game and the gameplay on it, and it'll show you how it's played, and it'll actually have screenshots. I personally do not have any of those yet. Give me time, maybe in the future I will, but we'll see. Let's see. I have to say number 7. I have to go to Combat, which this concept is very simple to explain. Basically, it's a 2-player where you and your friend or family member, whoever it is you play with, drive around as little tanks, and the goal is basically to eliminate the other person. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. All right, and let's see. Number 6. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, but number 6 on my list would have to be Pac-Man. I mean, a lot of people will probably say, oh, it needs to be the top. No, it's really not. I like Pac-Man. I get along with it. My brother-in-law was a lot better at Pac-Man than I ever will be. And he's probably the one who's probably going to disagree with this, but I like Pac-Man. I'm hoping everybody out here knows the concept of Pac-Man. Obviously, you go around. The goal is to for Pac-Man to eat all the dots while dodging the ghosts. And of course, if you get touched by a ghost, you die. I mean, we all know the concept of Pac-Man. It's still pretty fun to play. I mean, I'm not good at it. I never could get past the first stage. As a matter of fact, my brother-in-law was the very first person I ever met who actually did manage to get further in it than the first stage I've ever met. So, like I said, Pac-Man, still one of my favorites, even though I can't play it really well. Alright, so number let's see, we're up to number 5. Yeah, number 5. We'll go to Super Breakout, which Super Breakout is... that's kind of hard for me to explain what it is. If you ever heard of Pong, which probably was one of the very earliest in-home games that ever been released. I don't think it was the first, but I know it was one of the top ones. But anyways, the concept of Super Breakout is basically you just have a ball that you guide, and it shoots up, and you basically have to eliminate all the bricks of the wall. That's while trying to prevent the ball from missing the platform. So, like I said, it's one of my favorites. I mean, it's not the best game in the world, but, you know, that's not what this list is about. It's about what are my favorite ones. Alright, so, number 4, again, I know this is going to get a lot of backlash, but, you know, like I said, this is not really saying, oh, this is the all-time great. No, these are my top 5. I mean, they can be in a certain order. I suppose I did make them in a certain order, if that makes sense. This is my preferences on what games I enjoy playing all the time. Like I said, number 4 does go to Space Invaders, which, I'm sorry, if you don't know what Space Invader is, maybe I don't think you really like this episode very well. But I'm not downing anybody, just stating a point. Space Invaders is definitely another instant classic. I mean, most people out there who grew up like I did has heard of or played Space Invaders at one point in their life. And if you haven't, I highly suggest going out, finding it, and playing it. I mean, I know there's a lot of emulators out there, I'm pretty sure, that have them. I highly recommend getting it. It is a very fun game to play. Again, one of those games I never could beat fully, but still, it's really enjoyable. If you don't know what Space Invaders is or have ever seen it, if you're a fan of Futurama, there is an episode, I can't remember, it's one episode where Fry is shooting up at these UFOs and destroying them. And the thing is, when Gorg from Omicron Persei 8 says, okay, now we're going to change positions and keep lowering as we go. It's kind of an inside joke where everybody hates it. And one thing I always did love about that episode is where Fry says, I never could get the last one, and it's always the one that... It's always fun to... It's kind of an inside joke, because I don't know how many people like me always struggle with trying to get that last one. So, anyways, that's enough on Space Invaders. Maybe someday I can try to figure out how to do my own little gameplay to show you. I mean, that's one of my dreams on this show, so we'll see what happens in the future. All right, number 3 has to go to Pitfall, which a lot of people out there do not know how the concept of this game or what is the purpose of the game. If the only thing is, I know all it is that you're just a man running around through a jungle trying to find a treasure chest. That's pretty much it. One reason why I think it's still one of my favorites is it's just so enjoyable. It's so I mean, you walk. It's like a maze in a way. So you're kind of doing that, dodging the alligators and the pits, and sometimes you got some pits that like reemerge and then disappear. It's very interesting. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. All right, and number 2, my second favorite of all time, I will say, has to go to Stampede, which for many of you who may not have ever heard of this game or played it, I really always enjoyed it. Like I said, it's one of my games that I remember playing as a kid. Is basically you're an old time cowboy just trying to rustle up cattle, and like each cattle has its own different amount of points. I mean, and then you also got some of them that are worth less points than others, obviously, and and the goal is you have to rustle up as many cattle as you can before without missing any of them. Like I said, it's a very hard game. I've never gotten the far of it, but still fun to just run around throwing your lasso at the cows and creating it. And it's a lot of fun for me. I mean, hopefully some of you may agree. I enjoy it. I hope you do too. All right, now I have to say my all-time favorite game that came out for the Atari 2600 would have to go to Frogger. I mean, come on. I mean, I love Frogger. Any version of Frogger I have. I mean, I've played, Frogger 2 for the PlayStation. I've played Super Frogger. There's like so many different versions of Frogger that came out throughout the years. It's just it is one of my all time favorite. I'm sorry. Everybody has their different opinions on what's their favorite. I mean, I know some people say Pac-Man. Other people will probably say Adventure. I mean, I know that's not on my list, but I mean, granted, these are ones that I've actually played. I mean, I can't really say that I haven't really played through Avenger that much, so I can't really vouch for it. Some people told me that Raiders of the Lost Ark was really good, but I've never played it, so I can't really say it is. But as I said, Frogger definitely has to be my all-time favorite because the concept of it is very simple. The goal is basically you just take the frog, and your goal is to make it across the pond without falling into water, which honestly doesn't make sense because you're a frog, you should be able to swim, but that's not the point. Basically, you avoid traffic, then you avoid the pond and alligators and turtles and all this other stuff. Basically, the goal is you have 5 little areas you have to get each frog into, and the goal to clear each stage is to have all 5 frogs in there. And I think you only get you only get a certain amount of times to do it. I think it's 3. I mean, it has been a while since I played it. And again, another reason why Frogger does make my all-time favorite is, think of some of the games that came out with that had that same exact basis. Like, I think the one fad a few years ago was this game called Crossy Roads, I think it was, that you could play on your phone. I was like, oh, hey, that's a lot like Frogger. But, that's my list. I know this ain't a very great episode, but hey, I'm learning, and I would like to thank everybody who has subscribed. And again, I appreciate it. I mean, most of you I do know personally. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. But however, one thing I did think was really cool was I do have a few subscribers out there. I do not know, actually don't know who those people are, and I think that's pretty cool. People I've never met are actually subscribing to this channel, which I think's pretty awesome. And hopefully the attendance still grows. But anyways, I did see in one of the comments that some people were unaware that there was a retro gaming conventions that are out, and yeah, Torgs has been going on like every year for the last 13, 14 years. I mean, and I remember being at one of the very early ones with my brother-in-law and another friend of ours named James. And hey, James, how's it going? I know James will probably be watching this, and I know I'm going to be hearing a lot of interesting comments from my brother-in-law when he sees this video, but basically arguing with me about Pac-Man. Just kidding, guys. But anyways, on the concept of that, on November 5th, there is going to be another one up in Columbus. Hang on, I do have the name for it. Bear with me. It's actually called it's the Torg Gaming Expo. So I'll have a link on that here shortly, and it's on November 5th, and it's actually up at the Ohio Expo Center, which actually, yeah, it's in the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. So, like I said, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff other than just games. There's going to be, I guess, there's going to be comics, like toys and artwork, and there's also going to be like a child's play center. There's going to be tournaments. There's going to be a whole lot of interesting things going on up there. I mean, my brother-in-law and I have talked with the gentleman, and he's told us a lot about it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm planning on being up there, and as well as my family and everything, and we'll hope to see everybody there. I'll send a link to the description, later, and I'll see you guys hopefully next week.